Hello students, let us start our session. Um, Let us continue our discussion from our last class. Today we will talk about first one concept, degrees of freedom. Degrees of freedom. What basically degrees of freedom means. Okay. Now, in terms of physics, if you want to talk about degrees of freedom, in simple language, how the atom can freely move. You have to ask in your mind how atom can, in how many ways atom can freely move. Okay. Now, when we talk about movement, we have two types of movements. Okay. One is translatory motion, one is a rotational motion. You have done these chapters, translatory motion, rotational motion. Now you are getting some idea what is rotational motion, what is translatory motion. So you have basically three axes, right? X, Y and Z, right? So suppose an object is there or a body is there, it can literally move in a straight line in X direction, okay, and it can move in the Y direction also, given a chance, and it can move in Z direction also, given an opportunity. So in translatory we can say that it has 3 degrees of freedom. Suppose it can go only in X, then 1. It can go X and Y, only X, if I say 1. X and Y only, here only is the keyword. X and Y only, but cannot go in Z. Let us say some condition is there. So we will say 2. X, it can move freely. Move means in a line, right? So it is 3. So this is about translatory motion. What is rotational motion? So suppose you just imagine this is your x-axis. So there is an axis like this, right? It can rotate about this axis. Let us say some object is there. It can, then in rotational motion the count will be 1. Okay? It can rotate about y and it can rotate about z. What am I trying to do this? I am trying to draw that if you consider this as an axis, about the axis it is rotating like this. Little 3D you have to imagine. Okay. So suppose some particular case is there where it can rotate only about x-axis but not about y and z. You will say degree of freedom is 1. Okay. Only about x. X and y you will say it is 2 but not z. Just to explain things I am telling you. Okay. It can rotate about x-axis, it can rotate about y-axis, but it cannot rotate about z-axis. You will say degrees of freedom is 2 because in 2 ways it can rotate. Suppose it can rotate about all 3, you will say that it is degree of freedom in rotational way is 3. So if you club these two, you get the total degree of freedom. So total degree of freedom you will get when you consider how many degrees of freedom in translatory motion, how many degrees of freedom in rotational motion, you get the total, DOF, total degrees of freedom. Okay. So we will apply this concept to our gas molecules. So our gas molecules come in 3 varieties. Monoatomic, I told you, diatomic and polyatomic. Poly you call it, triatomic you call it, or many atoms, So monoatomic, what is the situation? So this is your x-axis, this is your y-axis, and this is your z-axis. So about monoatomic molecules, they can move in x direction, they can move in y direction, they can move in z direction. You talk only about translation here. You here T only, no R. Here there is no rotation, there is only T. But in all three directions it can move very easily. That is why degrees of freedom is 3. Alright? Degrees of freedom of monoatomic gas molecules is 3, and that degrees of freedom is only in T, not in R. Okay? Now, when the situation comes for a diatomic, okay, this is your X, this is your Y, this is your Z. So diatomic, how they are? They are like this. This is your diatomic molecule. So about them, when you talk about translation, this can move in X, this can move in Y, this can move in Z. Okay? Like imagine like your dumbbell. Dumbbell can move in X, dumbbell can move in Y, dumbbell can move in Z. So in translation, you have 3 confirmed. But when it comes to rotation, now this can rotate about Y. Suppose this dumbbell is in X direction, okay? So it can rotate in Y, it can rotate about Z. It can rotate about Z. So rotation about X doesn't come into picture because the dumbbell is in X direction. How it will rotate about X axis? It can rotate about Y axis, it can rotate about Z axis. Now whether the rotation is clockwise, whether the rotation is counterclockwise, we are not getting into that aspect. We are only discussing the aspect whether it can rotate or not. Okay? So in rotation, it has got 2. In XX, it cannot rotate. So what is the total DOF? 3 plus 2, it is 5. You see, this much reasoning is not required. But basically you have to understand monoatomic, how many degrees of freedom. Diatomic, how many degrees of freedom. So when it comes to triatomic, what is this? Okay, water molecule. So when it comes to this, if you argue in a similar way, this is the most generalized way. In translation, it will have 3 degrees of freedom. Okay, this whole block can move in X, move in Y, move in Z. And when it comes to rotation also, it can rotate about all 3 axes. So here degrees of freedom is 6. Okay, so these 3 cases, and I have listed the examples also of monoatomic, diatomic and polyatomic in the previous class. Okay, so you should make a note of that and make a note of this concept. Well, now couple of small definitions we will try to understand. We will now get into heat and all these things. Okay, so what is the difference basically between heat and temperature? If I ask you, the biggest confusion for most of the people is here only. They think that both are same. Okay, suppose you have a container, and inside that you have poured some water, some liquid you have poured. Now here this basically this content is full of molecules, right? So now what you do, you provide some, you raise the temperature of these molecules. Okay, you give some energy, you put it on a stove is connected to the gas. You are supplying some energy to this. By giving this energy, what is happening, that these molecules will have kinetic energy, and when this kinetic energy increases, So there will be rapid movement up and down. So temperature is a measure of how rapidly the kinetic energy is increasing basically, and this energy what you are supplying is basically heat energy. Okay, you are supplying heat energy to kind of increase the kinetic energy of the molecules. To the degree to which it rises is temperature. Okay, initially let us say it was at temperature is measured in degrees Celsius, Kelvin. Okay, and this is measured in joules. This is energy. Okay, so basically you are providing this energy to disturb the arrangement of the content in the container. By giving this heat energy, you have raised the kinetic energy of the molecules. To what degree it has raised? Okay, so that measure is actually the temperature. While discussing this molecular speeds, I have drawn a graph with respect to temperature also. I have told you that the most probably, remember this graph? There was a graph like this. There was a graph like this. This was the most probable speed at temperature T1. Then what happened? When you increase the temperature, the graph slightly became like this. Okay, here I have taken the molecular fraction and this was the molecular speed. In the previous lecture, what was happening here? When I was raising the temperature, the most probable, so this is the VMT, most probable speed was increasing, right? So temperature is a measure of change in kinetic energy of this. So if you are saying that at a temperature 20 degrees, if the kinetic energy of the molecules, even if you talk about a gas molecule, will it be more at 20 or more at 30? Okay, you can understand in this way also. So heat energy is measured in joules. The symbol you use to show heat energy is Q. The symbol you use to show this is T. Okay, and these two are entirely two different things. Okay, so this is one basic concept. Now coming to, we talk about specific heat. Specific heat of a substance. What is the concept behind it? So I take any substance, okay, and I supply heat to it. Okay, I supply some heat to it. Now this substance mass is 1 kg. Alright. Now specific heat of a substance is the heat which this substance is at some temperature already. Okay. So specific heat is that heat which raises this substance, okay, of 1 kg mass by 1 Kelvin. Okay, 1 degree rise. It should get a 1 degree rise. Okay, how much heat? You must have given some heat here. So this heat is your specific heat. So now let us talk about the unit. What is the SI unit of this? It is joules per kg per Kelvin. Okay, it is joules per kg per Kelvin. So specific heat is the amount of heat required to take any substance, and the temperature should rise by 1 Kelvin. So some values you should know, like the very two important values are, first is for the water. Water specific it is 4182 joules kg inverse Kelvin inverse. Okay, if you take for, now this is at here you are saying that you are raising the temperature, then what is the temperature of the water you have taken is 20 degrees Celsius. Okay, so 20 degrees Celsius means 293 Kelvin. So from 293 to 294 it will become, if you supply this much of heat. Okay, if you take ice which is just below just below 0 degrees Celsius. Specific heat value is 2093. Okay. Generally not required, but iron, if you take, iron is approximately 449. Now what does this tell you? This tells you that different objects will have, different substances will have different specific heat values. Now you see, looking at the values, to raise 1 degree, to raise 1 Kelvin of iron is easy or water is easy. Iron gets heat, the temperature of iron rises more faster because less energy is supplied, no? How much energy is supplied here? 449 joules is supplied. How much is to be supplied here? 4182. Okay, you can see this is almost 10 times, 9 times. Okay, 9 times more heat has to be given to water so that its temperature rises by 1 Kelvin. This is not by 1 degree Celsius. You can, originally the temperature was 20 degree Celsius, which is 293, then it became 294. So by giving this much of heat. Okay, so this is all about specific heat of a substance. Next, now basically we talk about two types of specific heat. Okay, specific heat at constant pressure and at constant volume. So we show this with a symbol Cp and Cv. Okay, specific heat, it is there in the name itself, at constant pressure and at constant volume. Usually Cp value is more than Cv. Okay, so Cp by Cv is also a ratio indicated by gamma. It is heat capacity ratio. It is heat capacity ratio. See, all these things you have to memorize. Some things you have to mug up. Few things you have to know the concept, but few things you have to memorize. You should know. Okay, in the exam you should not get a doubt that what is the Cp and what is the Cv and all those things. Okay, so these two we are going to study now. There is an interrelationship between Cp and Cv. Okay, that is called Mayer's relationship. Mayer's relation. He gave a relation which is connecting the Cp and Cv values. Okay, that we will see. That we will discuss. We will see now or maybe in the next class. So there is an interrelationship between these two. So how they are interconnected, that we will see now. Okay. So these terms you should know, Cp and Cv. What is constant at when you are considering that? Okay. That Mayer's relationship is simply, actually this is the equation, Cp minus Cv is equal to R. R is the universal gas constant. Okay. Now to derive this derivation also is important, but for that you need to know some concepts regarding about thermodynamics. Okay. So first I will explain those concepts so that you understand the process here, and after that this becomes quite simple and obvious. So that I will take up in the next session. So for the time being, we can note down this as a formula, and Cp is usually more than Cv. Alright. So for monoatomic gases, for diatomic molecules and polyatomic, you have certain specific values. So those values I will give a list. That list you should remember. So they are very handy when you are solving any JEE numericals or anything. That list should be very clear to you, and we will see about this derivation part also. But I will explain a little bit about some concepts are involved here. After knowing that, you can easily understand this. So it won't be possible right now. Let us meet in the next session.